Dissociative disorder is defined as a group of conditions characterized by disruptions in consciousness, memory, identity, or perception. These disorders typically arise in response to severe stress or trauma. Tell me about a rough day in your previous relationship. What did a bad day look like? One morning around 11, my boyfriend had asked me to make coffee. I gave it to him, but apparently he felt that it did not taste right. He began demanding to know what I had done differently and why I wanted to ruin his day by messing with his coffee. I tried to explain that I had made the coffee the same as every other morning, but he went to the kitchen and smashed the coffee pot and all of the coffee mugs. He said if I wasn't going to make the coffee right, then we didn't need that stuff anymore. Then he turned around and told me to clean up the mess that I had caused. I refused because he was the one who had broken everything. So he turned on me and said if I wasn't going to clean the house, then I didn't need to be in it. He tried to grab me, and when I went to get away, I slipped and fell. He then grabbed my ponytail and proceeded to drag me out of our home by my hair. Once outside, he said that if I wasn't going to clean the house, then I could stay out of it. When I tried to get up to go back inside, he began kicking me with his size 13 work boots, landing kicks to my arm, shoulder, and upper back. When he stopped, he told me to go, to come back when I was ready to clean up my mess. That was such a traumatic event to have gone through. You talk about it so calm and clearly. I would imagine it to be so hard to relive such things that you didn't even cry. You looked as if you had been telling me a children's story for all of the emotion expressed. What is there to be upset about? It happened. I lived. Crying about it now isn't going to change anything. This person has a diagnosis of a dissociative disorder. This example highlights that there is a disconnect between the memories of what happened to them and the emotions during that time. It is the brain's way of protecting her. Her mind is disassociating. In other words, erasing the emotions of the events to allow her to process the things in her past. Unfortunately, the dissociating is a double-edged sword. While yes, she can look back at the moments that shaped her, but she can't feel it. There is a difference between processing the physical events and working through the feelings that those events brought with them. The grief experience of this type of dissociation is that if you can't get to the emotions in order to deal with them, how do you ever get past them? Tell me about your childhood. I have very few memories of my childhood, at least before the age of 10. Most of the things that I remember are less my own memories and things that my mom and sister have filled in over the years. The part of my life that I start to have consistent flows of memories are shortly before my daddy's death. The months leading up to my daddy dying were very crazy, especially for being the first memories that I know are my own. From witnessing spousal abuse, parental kidnapping, getting off the bus to a police surrounding a crime scene at my house, to a month later being told that my daddy was gone forever. I can only imagine if those are the events that I can remember, then what was so bad in my early childhood that my mind knew that they would break me, so much that it blocked out all those years of memories. Unfortunately, when those memories are lost, so are the people in them. With the memories of my own being so very dark, any lighthearted memories of my daddy are also lost. With that, so were the family and friends, who I was then, who I would and could have been if my own history wasn't a mystery. Yes, it is true when you go through traumatic events that sometimes it is too much for a young mind to process or handle. And as a result, the mind does whatever it has to hold itself together. Unfortunately, you are correct. You don't get to consciously choose what is hidden away. So you do not get to choose what you get to remember either. I wish I could tell you that someday you will just remember everything and everyone your mind has erased, but I can't. Given your previous diagnosis of complex post-traumatic stress disorder, I don't know if it would if you would get back that lost time, or even if it would be safe for you, your mental health to do so. I know it is not what you want to hear, but your mind blocked those memories, those events from you to protect you. The truth of dissociative disorder is that it is not a choice you get. A lot of people think that dissociative amnesia is just forgetting something bad or scary that happened to you. Like when a movie bleeps out the curse words, but everything else is still there in the scene. But it isn't. It is like trying to read a book with entire chapters ripped out. The grief experience of dissociative amnesia is that it is a blanket of darkness, that you don't get to choose what the blanket covers. So when a traumatic event happens to center around people you love, you, unfortunately, are forced to lose them too, again, every time you can't remember. What is your biggest regret from a time in your life before adulthood? That would be the day of my daddy's funeral. Obviously, it was a sad day, saying goodbye to my daddy, the last day I would ever see my nanny, and the day I was chased away at gunpoint. Considering the circumstances surrounding my father's death, I understand that many people in the family blame my mama for what had happened. What no one realized at the time was that my daddy's side of the family had no intention of letting Mama leave the funeral with my sister and me. Just before the services were to begin, someone brought out a gun. I heard my aunt, my daddy's little sister, scream that they would rather kill my mama than to let my sister and I leave with her. Needless to say, it all got real crazy real fast. I just remember someone grabbing my hand and telling me to run. I remember looking back while we were running across the parking lot to a car and seeing so many people I cared about screaming and chasing us. We got away and went to a distant cousin's house. The cops came, took a report, and then went back to the funeral home to investigate. Some time went by and the cops returned. They talked to the adults, then pulled my sister and myself aside. They offered, because it was our daddy's funeral, to go back and clear everyone out. Then a cop would take us back there alone and give us a chance to say our goodbyes. That moment, that is my biggest regret. I felt like either decision would be a betrayal and someone would get hurt. If I went back, would my mama be hurt, feeling like she might lose us? If I didn't go back, would my family think that I didn't love them enough to come back and say goodbye? So I let my big sister decide, and I just went along with her. Her decision was not to go back. I don't blame her. She made the decision she thought was best at the time. Looking back, she was only 12 years old, and life has shown me that she did a lot in those years to protect me. In the aspect of psychological development, I think I would have benefited from being able to go back and having that time to say goodbye. Instead, we lost half of ourselves that day, and I don't think we ever found it again. Sometimes the lines between dissociation and post-traumatic stress disorder can get blurred. Dissociation disorders affect cognitive, emotional, and behavioral aspects. The different multiple traumatic events have led to your diagnosis of CPTSD while having dissociative episodes where you have such difficulty being able to make a decision that you ultimately have to let the decision be made without you. It is all you can do to get through them. The grief experience in this form of dissociation is that even though you cannot make the decision, you're still responsible for both your indecision and the decision you went along with. You have to live with the consequences, regardless if those consequences are from your decision or lack thereof. For as long as I can remember, this picture is what I was told was the life you wanted. A cute house, white picket fence, the picture of happiness, stability, and calm. Now I've come to realize I have not found this in real life, everyday life, or even inside my own head. Inside my head, it is as if I am always on the outside of the house looking in. But my dissociative disorder has the doors locked and turns off the lights in different rooms so I cannot see inside. While each plank of the picket fence is another traumatic event that keeps me inside the yard. The times that I have ventured out past the fence, everything gets scary dark. For those who have an issue with dissociation, it's like having a coverall game of bingo that you never asked for. That does not mean that there isn't hope. No, you may not have that emotion and memory connection that most people do. No, you may not be able to remember your childhood. Your only memories are those that are not even your own, unlike other people. No, you may not be able to relate to decisions that shaped who you are. But what you do have is room to grow and to learn. It's not too late to be self-aware enough that you can meet yourself where you are. Build a life that you are comfortable with, and the grace to see your limitations as a stepping off place, not a stopping one.